All right, let's finish up our tour of effects by looking at green screening. Okay, now you guys probably have heard of that or know what it is. It's basically when there's a green backdrop employed to hide the background, which would be replaced with something else, usually some kind of special effects or some other imagery or something like that. So you're trying to get just the subject isolated. It could be done with any color. They use green because it's the opposite of human skin tones, right? So it's easier to uh, deal with that. And you've probably seen when it doesn't work sometimes if there's, the weatherman comes on or something and he has a green tie on, you'll see the, weather map through his tie or something like that. But it's an effect in After Effects, so we can do it pretty easily. So I'm still in the same composition as before, and I deleted everything except this background image. Okay, so I supplied you guys with a folder that has a couple things in it that we can use to take a look at this. So I'm going to go File, Import File, and let's just look at this green screen.jpg. Okay, I'm going to bring that down and put it on top of the other one, and S for scale, and let's see. Okay, so this looks a little stretched or something, but whatever, it doesn't matter for this. All right, so with that layer active, let's go Effect, Keying, right? And we're going to use Key Light. Now, when I used to go over this, we had to use a lot of these other things like Key Cleaner and stuff, but this somewhere they have in here uh, old effects that aren't used anymore. I'm not saying right at the moment, but this key light replaced. It's changed, and anyway, it's newer and it works really good on its own. So usually you don't have to use some additional effects to get good keying. So I go to key light, nothing happens. That's because we have to pick the screen color, right? And by default, it's set on black. So and there's a lot of adjustments you can make here to get to perfect it. That later on when we do some exercises, we may have to use those, but I don't think too much right now. So if I go to the eyedropper, and now you look at the green in the background, it's pretty uniform. Um, Usually what you want to do is look for the darker areas and the lighter areas and get it right in the middle somewhere. Okay, I'm just going to hit here. See what happens. All right, so that worked. This works really good. Like if you're looking around the edge of your hair, it looks pretty good. Okay, maybe if I turn up the gain, the backgrounds might depend on just the color I landed on there. And when I tried it before, it didn't have that effect. But if I just turn up the gain a little bit, cleans up the background, looks really nice, right? Okay, so let's try one with a piece of footage in it. So File, Import, File, and this one is Tino Fall. Okay, it's a piece of footage. I'm going to put it on top, and you can see that he comes walking in, and boom, there's an explosion and blows him backwards. Okay, so let's go S for scale and scale this thing so we can get more of it in. We want to at least be able to see his head, right? Okay, I went to like 77%. His head is showing now, and his foot. All right, so the problem is we're going to have to use, they call it a trash mask to get rid of the trash around the outside edge. But the problem is this light here, they kind of screwed it up. It's hanging too low. So if I mask, I can easily mask this stuff out because his head doesn't overlap with that stuff up here, right on the top of the screen. But right there, his head overlaps that light. So I have to, if I try to mask it out, I'm going to mask his head out, right? It's not going to work. So I have to push that off. And let's see if he's still. If I scale it up a little bit more. scale. I don't want to scale it up more because I want to see as much of him as possible. And back in 77, I just pushed it off. Let's see what that looks like again. Okay, I'm going with that. All right, so let's make the mask, the trash mask. So what we want to do is mask off the stuff on the left and top, right? So make sure your layer is selected. Oh, I guess we should get rid of do the green screening first. Duh. All right, so let's go and effect, keying, and key light. And again, don't go for the, get the screen color. Don't go for the lightest. Don't go for the darkest. Go somewhere in the middle. Okay, so a little bit of noise in the dark area, so I'm just going to turn up my gain a hair, like that. Okay, I think that's going to work. All right, so now let's do the mask. So the layers, I'm on the layer, so I go to my pen tool, right? And if no layer is active, right, it just draws a shape. If a layer is active, it makes a mask. So I'm going to scroll out a hair here. So the sides that I don't want to mask off, I can just come up outside like this, right? There's another, looks like there's something there, but whatever. Okay, so let's see how that looks. Just need an explosion in there. Okay, so that's how we do green screening or color keying. And again, this background, you can have a paint background screen, or really any solid color, as solid as possible, right? This is what makes it difficult, is when there's a lot of variations in the color. But they want, ideally the green screen is lit as uniformly as possible, so you don't see a lot of light and dark. Okay, I think they kind of did it a little bit flawed here on purpose to make it good to use as an exercise. Anyway, let's render that thing out and hand it in. Okay, and then we'll go on to something else.